welcome to a brand new episode of Sequel Rights, the podcast where we take a look at the franchises that make you go, they made how many of those? And we give each and every sequel a fair trial. My name is Jordan Kamps, and I'm here with
Elizabeth Helly
and
Tyler Hymanson.
Oh man, and we are back for the last Bring It On movie. Mercifully, the last film.
I don't know. 2020 still might have another one in it for us. It's just the way this year's been going. Yeah.
I don't know. Is cheerleading allowed right now? I'm not really sure.
Depends on the state.
That's right. Well, we're back this week talking about Bring It On worldwide hashtags CHEERSMACK. But before we get into our episode this week, we always, every week, are asking people to, send in reviews to iTunes or shoot us an email or anything. And we got a shout out on Facebook this past week from listener Kevin. And just wanted to read what he said here. He said, been listening since Tremors 1 and never looked back. Legit in my top 3 podcasts I have to listen to each week. Keep up the great work, folks. Love what you're doing. Awesome.
Yay.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thanks, Kevin.
Yeah, thanks so much for listening.
Thank you.
And on that note, Eliz, if anyone does want to reach out to us, where can they reach us?
Yeah, you can send us an email to sequelrights@gmail.com. We need ideas for future franchises since we're at the end of this one. And you can also find us on social media on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and our YouTube channel at Sequel Rights.
And please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. We'd really appreciate it.
And this week, we're not alone here on the podcast. We have a special guest. Eliz, who's here this week?
This week, we have Erin Muroski, and she is an actress and comedic writer and podcaster.
Yes. Hi, I'm so happy to be here. This is so fun.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you for helping us close this one out.
That's right.
We definitely needed help. So
I'm happy to help you do some heavy lifting.
That's
here.
right.
Group therapy here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Oh, boy. Well, you know what? Do you guys want to just dive into it or what?
I think that's what you got to do.
You ready to cross this off the list? Here we go.
Cheerleaders are strong. We don't stop unless the person against us is stomped into the ground or with us.
Welcome to the SmackDown. Over 20 teams are competing from 12 countries.
We're taking them down.
Did you not hear them? We're taking on the whole cheer world.
Rebel?
You've been CHEERSMACKed. Du bist CHEERSMACKed.
CHEERSMACK!
We're gonna take you down.
There's a better way you could have said that.
The rules of the SmackDown are simple. There are no rules.
Oh, shit. I'm so hyped after that trailer.
They are so simple.
No
the rules
rules.
of the SmackDown and also who organized it or why any of it's happening, all very simple and clear.
Tyler, you
and
think
like what there are rules. They actually had several, like there were definitely rules. So
Yeah.
It wasn't like people just went out there and did the hammer dance or whatever. Like it was like there seemed to be some rules.
They do go out of their way in the movie though to be like, just remember everybody, this is a non-sanctioned championship or something like that.
Yeah, I kind of appreciated that, I guess. There was one point where Vivica A. Fox calls them out and like, shouldn't you have gone through the normal methods to issue this challenge? And they were like,
You go to cheer UN.
That's right.
And is she in the, because forgive me, I've not seen all the movies
She
in
is
this
not.
amazing. Okay, so Cheer Goddess is just a made up character for this specific Bring It On
Yes.
movie.
Yeah.
it is.
Fantastic. And why wouldn't she be?
Yeah. It's like, okay,
If there's one thing that teenage girls love,
what did
Yes.
what did Cheer Goddess even do?
I love it because I assumed that she was like something that was brought over from the other movies, because there seems to be no explanation of why she's a cheer goddess and that people like call in to ask her questions and like what her actual like that's how she makes her money, is being the cheer goddess.
She's a cheerlebrity.
Yeah.
Yeah, the use of cheer as like half of a word and many words, like really, I assume that is carried over from other
Not to this degree.
franchises. But like cheer, like when she says, I just have this on in my notes. You tried to cheer swayed me. I'm like, that is not like that is too much of a reach.
Erin, if you enjoyed the cheer portmanteaus or whatever you want to call it.
cheer
now you're doing it.
Cheer mentos.
Cheeriums.
Yeah.
Cheeriums.
Then
that's a delicious cereal.
do I have a list for you?
Oh boy.
So just like last week, this is a thing where I was like, man, I should have been doing this the entire time. But I took, moments out of watching this film. I think I had to pause it about 80 times within the first 10 minutes of the movie. But I took a long list of all the brand new cheer whatevers we have in this. Now, some of them you might be like, oh, well, this doesn't count because it's just 2 words. But whatever. I included every time it was like cheer something. So, okay, you want the full list?
Super cut.
Here we go.
Yeah.
There's no, I didn't take the time to go make an actual supercut.
Okay.
That would have been, I'm sorry, that would have been
amateur hour.
Oh my God, that would have been amazing.
I wanted to, but there's just too many. I was like, I don't got time for this.
And also you would have put more effort into something in this movie than most of the people.
Exactly.
Yeah, making it for
so
sure.
here's just me saying the list live. We've got, we already said Cheer Liberty. You already said Cheer Swaded, right, Erin?
Mm-hmm.
We've got Cheersaster. Also, some of these come with hashtags, so it's the hashtag Cheersaster. We have the titular Cheersmacked. We've got hashtag Cheermiliated. We've got hashtag Cheerosaurus. Some of these are just on the screen for 2 seconds in some of the images. We have my favorite one, Cheer Noble. Hashtag Cheer Noble.
That's so wrong.
Terrible. We've got hashtag Cheer Spanked. We've got hashtag Cheer Drawn and Quartered. I don't know why they had
What?
Yeah, that's not even, why is cheer even in that?
I don't know. We've got, we have Cheer Goddess. This is where I'm talking about. We've got Cheer Chum. We've got Cheer Diculous. Cheer Dictatorship.
Mm-hmm.
We've got Cheer Crush. Hashtag Cheer Crush. Cheer Minions. We said someone mentioned Cheer on Cheer Violence at one point. We've got someone referred to as a Cheer Baby. We've got Cheerternity. Cheer War, Cheer World, Cheer Somnia, Cheer Hacks, Cheer Challenge, Cheer Followers, Cheer Family, Cheer Emergency, Cheer Mates, hashtag Cheer Life, hashtag Cheer Humility, Cheer Passion, Cheertastic, hashtag Cheer Strong, Cheer Peers, and finally, hashtag Cheerific. And scene. Wow. Sorry.
Shouldn't it be Cheertatorship, not Cheer Dictatorship? Right?
Yeah.
Except that it wasn't written that way. Even in the subtitles, it was like Cheer-Dictatorship.
Yeah, and they use femme a lot too. Like she says, my femme tuition and my femme. Yeah, like I'm like
that one got added this movie, and I would refuse to take notes on that.
I didn't like it.
Yeah, me neither.
There's something that was like, like it didn't seem, I don't know, like woman power-ish. It seemed like very, I don't know. I didn't like it.
It wasn't
either.
empowering. It was very like degrading almost toward themselves.
Right, like you can just have intuition as a woman. You don't have to have femtuition. It's like saying like this lady doctor. It's like, no, she's just a doctor. It's okay. Yeah. Like you don't have to like specify that you are a woman and had intuition.
Yeah, it's totally meaningless. We should say this movie breaks some of the long-held sequel traditions that we've seen.
It broke like 2 of our favorite ones.
I know. Immediately, I was like, so it starts off with another, cheer routine, seemingly out in the middle of public, I guess, somewhere. And everything's going fine. And all of a sudden, like, the screens start getting all staticky. And I was like, oh, yeah, nightmare for sure. This is a nightmare.
Yeah, here comes the dream sequence. Yeah.
Anonymous is hacking the cheer squad.
I believe you meant to say Cheer Anonymous.
That's right. Yeah. Sorry. Everything that plays out in this opening sequence, even though like I keep thinking like, oh, they're gonna pull the rug out and it's gonna be a nightmare at some point. It's not a nightmare.
She even gets to the point where she like pokes herself and closes her eyes and opens it and is like, "Oh, I'm not dreaming." And I was like, "Boo! You should be dreaming."
It's a meta nightmare. Yeah. No. No nightmare sequence to kick off the movie. Pretty.
Yes, because.
Sorry. Go ahead. I was just gonna say it's funny that she, though, my first like, oh God, I mean, it was bad from the start, but really bad in storytelling as far as she just like, they're like, what are we gonna do? This is so serious. And she's like, I'm just gonna grab my bag and head out. It's like, wait, what? You just left everybody there on stage and you casually like walk down the street and head into an alley. Like that seems like a logical thing to do next.
Yeah, in full cheer gear.
Right, but there's boys in the alley, you see. So.
Yes.
Cool street boys. Ooh.
Street boys.
Perhaps even more upsetting than the fact that this movie doesn't start with a cheer sequence is the fact that our main character, despite the fact that this movie ostensibly takes place in Los Angeles, her name is not the name of a California suburb.
Boo.
Very disappointed.
Boo.
She's got like
Destiny.
She should have been named Topanga.
Yeah, that would have been good. Erin, so far we've had Torrance, Carson, Catalina, and what was the other one? Whittier.
Whittier.
Yeah.
Who could forget Whittier?
Well, despite that, she has set herself up to have a great stripping career with the name Destiny. So I think, like, she's still a winner.
Oh boy,
certainly. And so, Erin, you have a bunch of dance experience, right? So
yes.
Were you ever like the captain or a leader of any group?
I was of my college Rollins dancers president. We had only a dance minor. And it was a very riffraff group, but and then in high school I was on dance team, but I was definitely not like my dance team was good, so I was not the president of anything for that dance team. But I did do like many competitions and like, you know, dance camps and stuff that were it was very cheerleader-esque. It's just basically that you do kick lines instead of like tricks, but you still do, you know, all the pom-poms and crazy stuff and jump splits and things like that, but you're not being thrown into the air violently the way that they do it in all of these movies.
Yeah.
It makes me very nervous, but also just pick people off of the street and allow them to throw you in the air and catch you.
Right. Yeah.
Sounds like a great idea.
Can they do a handstand? Perfect.
Yeah. He break dances. He clearly knows how to be a cheerleading.
Anyone can look good in 15 seconds of video.
Yeah, get over here, Jeff. You want to be in the squad, right, Jeff?
Was that his name?
God.
Oh
his name was Jeff, wasn't it? And
I only remember Did It.
Everybody in this name is singularly named. There is no last names in
Blake.
this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing about the street dancers for me was that, well, first of all, the two guys that were like the ones that joined the team at first, like they could not have found worse actors. I feel like they looked high and low for the worst actors possible. And then what was the relationship with Blake? It was like he owned them. Like it was like, we got to check with Blake. And then like after they did their dance battle, Blake was just like, yes, my boys will dance with you. And it's like, wait, what? Like cheer with you.
He didn't even join.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was just like, nah.
He didn't confer with them. He's just like, yes, they will. It's like, what is your relationship to these men?
That was very weird.
Heroin supplier.
Then he goes on.
I guess.
He goes on
dancing
to
in the street.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No. I was like, he goes on to immediately pull a Batman on her, and then in that scene where she turns around to say something, and he's already gone.
Where'd he go?
Yeah.
I actually liked him. Like I actually enjoyed him, and I thought that he was a decent actor. But the writing and the direction of him as a character was so ridiculous. And
you mean that his state-sponsored mural painting?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, like you didn't know I'm a like legit graffiti artist, not a like a bad one. And also I own street dancers.
Yeah, it wasn't clear to me why his mural and graffiti life kept him from being on the dance team. Like I don't, and then eventually it didn't. But he seemed to be like, I couldn't join because you don't know my dark secret about this fashioned graffiti.
I work 9 to 5 at the graffiti store. Like.
I thought for sure that he was going to end up being like the head of the truth for a little bit.
Yeah, I did too.
No,
but turns out the answer was far more confusing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, when they did reveal who it was, I was like, huh?
People keep leaving the team left and right. So even after the first truth video, half the team is like, bye. And that's why they have to get the street dancers in the first place.
Right.
And I mean, so like right from the beginning, when Cheer Anonymous, the truth, crashes their performance, it's immediately established that like everybody watches this shit on social media.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, like this movie is like at least 30% stock footage of people looking at phones.
Yeah.
And just with the cheer words like superimposed over. Sometimes the image is imposed over the screen, but not always. Sometimes it's just like random.
It was so
people
funny.
looking at phones.
I was watching the whole movie and thinking like, God, this stuff looks really weird. And then like it wasn't until the very end when they're showing everyone react to the news of what happens at the championship that I was like, wait a minute, have these been stock people the whole time? They don't look like they're part of the movie at all.
There was tons of people looking at phone stock footage, so much so that at the very end they actually reused a few.
Yeah, I think that's why
I was like, I remember that one exactly.
I think that's why it triggered that in me. I was like, wait a minute.
Wait,
yeah, I mean,
it was
I thought we were
working
gonna
for a
see the I guess I'll just die guy and the guy who's looking at the other girl with his girlfriend.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I was like, I was expecting to see that any second.
Yeah,
that's hilarious.
Do we find that more or less egregious than the cardboard cutouts in the second movie?
I find it more egregious.
Yeah, the movie is honestly about probably 15% stock footage, I think.
It might be more than that. Yeah.
Stock footage of like LA to try to make you think that it's in LA, and then clearly they'll like pan down and it's like suddenly South Africa.
Yeah.
You know, like again. Like Universal 1440, which by the way got a new logo for this movie. I was like, ooh, they're using their, what was it, Tremors 6 or 5? They filmed an entire Tremors movie in the desert in South Africa and just put a filter over it to try and make you think it was snow, like at the North Pole.
Yeah.
And like this time they're like, we're gonna shoot South Africa for LA.
Yeah.
Like it was very bad.
I was also convinced that the car that she drives is not a working car.
No.
Oh my God, I loved her car.
I know her car is
like,
amazing, but like, why does she have it?
I know. There should have been a story behind that car because that car was kick ass. Like, you don't just drive like a classic. It was a classic convertible Mustang. Right?
Yeah.
Like, you don't just like drive a classic convertible Mustang in high school and like not have an explanation behind
that. And
all.
it's like a lagoon blue, like really cool.
Yeah.
Like it was somebody like was down there and like, I need that car. She's driving it.
Okay.
Movie,
Yeah.
I just Googled it, and South Africa drives on the other side of the road. So they probably were like, we can only use like a picture car that like,
I'm sure there was a trailer. Actually, there was a couple times where it was just like green screen. She was just sitting in the car and they had a fan on her.
Yeah, but they were probably like the only cars that they had there are like that are on the other side are like a rich person's collectible, you know, car that's
that
there.
makes sense.
So they're like, just, yeah.
So wait, they shot this in South Africa? How did I miss this?
Yeah.
That is crazy. Just like lower, but they could do it for a lower budget, I guess.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Shooting's much cheaper. Yeah. I also suspect that like the last third of the movie is just this competition, and then we see like a 2-minute routine from teams around the world, and I honestly believe that was audition footage. As they were trying to find people, and then they just cut it in to the movie of just like, hey everybody, like you sent us your audition tape and it's in the movie.
I think they were almost all real teams, first of all.
Yes.
Like I looked in the credits and they did send an actual unit to some of the countries listed. And so I think the countries that got the real unit got to be the ones in the competition. And then the ones who, you know, they couldn't actually get the unit there or the footage didn't turn out as good or whatever, they ended up being the ones like in the credits or
At
the
the
ones
end,
that looked more homemade. But A lot of them like actually had all their real trophies and banners behind. And I know that this movie did not take the time to do that art direction and make those props. So those are real. They have to be real.
I was thinking, it was so funny because as I was watching that whole sequence, I was like, there's like no way, right, budget wise, that they could have like auditioned cheerleaders, put them together on a thing, even if it was a short part of a routine, have them do like those stunts. I'm like, they have to be real teams that they're just like, you can, instead of paying them, like you'll have the honor of being in this movie without like having to actually, I mean, I feel like they would have to up, right? Or maybe they paid
like them a little bit,
each $100.
Yeah. It's usually like from being in a band when we had to do movie things, they'd be like, we'll make a donation to your program, you know?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Yeah. Maybe everybody gets $20 and then the band keeps the rest.
Yeah, like new pom-poms for your squad or whatever.
Well, Justin, was Gloriana thrilled to see the CR Twisters?
I was gonna say, yeah, she was super excited that there was a Costa Rican team. Although she was like, I don't think that's a real team. But then I looked it up and it totally is a real team. But she was saying that like, the country is so small that usually like anytime someone's in a movie or one actor's in a TV show, it's like major national news, and she didn't know anything about this. So I don't know the specifics of that team, but I did look it up and the names matched the like, the people in the credits. So I don't know.
People are probably, gearing up because cheerleading is a provisional Olympic sport right now. So probably some countries that are small are like, here's an opportunity, like let's get dancers and gymnasts and make them into cheerleaders and we may have a chance to qualify.
Did they even say that in the movie? Like they said something about the Olympics?
She mentioned it at the very end. She's like, I think we're going to see some of these people at the Olympics.
Like so quickly. And I remember I was like, is there cheerleading in the Olympics?
I was like, did they mention that? Is that what
look it up too? So it's provisional.
Yeah.
Well, I know the movie by the end ends up turning into like a cheerleading promotional video, basically. Like, look at how cool cheerleading is.
And what I thought was interesting was that and I keep skipping ahead and like talking about stuff that's way later, but
it doesn't matter.
Okay, but like those teams, I'm like their routine seemed a lot more impressive than the one that the like winning team did at the end. I'm like, I'm confused about, and also another question I have a lot of questions, but one of them is, didn't they specifically say when the cheer goddess was interviewing, obviously Hannah, because of her eyes and abs that we've seen now already, like it was obviously her. I thought anyway, I'm like, this is obviously Hannah. So when she's in the mask and she's interviewing her and she was like, no, the truth will not be competing because this is to expose that Destiny's a shitty cheer captain or whatever to the world. Like everyone knows who your high school cheerleading captain is. I don't understand, but, but she said they wouldn't be competing. I thought, did I like just mishear that? And then they competed. I was confused.
Well, no, the thing that's incredibly confusing is that like they called out having like this international online competition, right? That they were that the truth was making, but then it got co-opted by the cheer goddess. And then they ended up doing the competition, and some of them performed live, but it was also international. And as she clarified, it's the voting is based off the views and votes on my website, as she had to say.
Yeah. She plugged her own website, which doesn't even exist, many times. But I think when they were saying they wouldn't be competing, I think that's when she was saying, why didn't you go through the normal associations? And they said, no, we're not going to compete in those because we need to expose the truth. But then they hired her to host the virtual competition, I guess.
Okay, gotcha. I must have like misunderstood the very weird rules.
We need a virtual host for the virtual competition.
But in a physical place where we'll both perform in the physical location.
Anyone have a warehouse? We need a warehouse. Add it to your
that was the other
list
thing
of
is they were like,
movies.
why are we going to this, this whatever to like when we have a state of the art gymnasium or whatever.
Gymnasium, yeah.
And she's like, well, we need to like, we don't want home advantage or something. I'm like,
home field advantage.
Yeah, they said it wouldn't be fair. They can't have their home field advantage, which like, okay, but you're like down the street and both teams are from the same town. So like, what difference does it make?
And also you have an odd, like, obviously you were gonna, like, I just feel like they justified it when they just did not need to. Like, they should have just, the rebels could have just shown up to that warehouse and be like, this is where the people who are here in this town are doing it, and then everyone else will be live streaming. Like, nobody needed to hear that explanation.
Well, especially because their outfits and their routine were tailored to the warehouse setting.
Right.
They started the routine like up against the fences and the scaffolding. Yeah. Like, were you going to do that at your gym?
Well, yeah, this is another long line of events where the winning cheer team, our winning cheer team, always has some extra thing that no one else has, and apparently no one else planned to do. They got their own little intro.
Legal.
Yeah. It was just like when those guys started from behind the chain link fence or whatever. Basically the same thing.
They didn't even keep it up in this one. They just like immediately abandoned it.
And got forward.
Like, their outfits were ugly. Like, the final outfits, like, they were just like cheapy sweatpants and joggers, and like they had
tinfoil pants, a few tinfoil pants scattered throughout.
It looked high school assembly.
Yeah.
If you're gonna do shiny pants, everybody's got to be in shiny pants, not just like 2 or 3 people.
Yeah,
these are the rules.
The truth were like, I did like their whole like look and vibe for the worldwide SmackDown, but I was like, your whole thing was masks and like hiding your identity, and now I guess that's out the window, probably because it's really hard to do an entire cheerleading routine in masks. Like, you need to be able to see, like, have peripheral vision maybe as you're flying through the air and people are catching you. I don't know, but their routine was so obviously better than the other ones, and when they didn't win, I was just like, I don't, like, you have to justify why they won.
Did you hear one of the street boys that stayed with them? He said it was tight, and so that's all you need.
Yeah, I mean, after the truth performed, you know, Cheer Goddess was like,
that routine was pretty amazing.
That's a good soundbite.
Yeah, and like the routine, the truce routine, totally just kept focusing on Hannah and did it being like a couple, and it reminded me of like that one year where at the finals, like, Rachel and Finn on Glee like made out at the end of the performance, and then everybody got mad and was like, you can't do that, you made it all about you instead of about the Glee Club. I was like, that's what these people are doing in cheer.
Yeah. Now,
but it's definitely more about, it was definitely more about Hannah being sexy and evil. Like, it was like evil, sexy. Once she was like, I'm head of the truth, it was like her entire wardrobe, her hair became evil. Like, everything about her became evil.
She basically ended up looking like Daryl Hannah's character from Blade Runner. Like, they all look like replicants, and like, it's like, I'm gonna, like, not only am I gonna win this competition, I'm gonna murder everyone in this room.
Also, I was pretending to be dumb the whole time.
Right? Like, did she live her whole life pretending to be dumb, rearing up till this like evil personality, or was it like, it's just like, I have a lot of questions, and she didn't have an accent before, which I looked up. She's Irish, because I was like, she's definitely not American, but she didn't have an accent before. And then once she went evil Hannah, she was just like, I am fully like, it didn't sound Irish to me. It sounded like it was like evil Eastern European, like, you know, like,
vague
villain
90s terrorist in a movie. Yeah.
I was like, what is happening? And nobody even points that out. Like, I feel like I'd be like, you have an accent? Did you hide this our entire high school career? Like, what the fuck?
She must get it from her uncle, right?
Yeah.
Tyler, what's the name of Mads Mikkelsen in Doctor Strange with like the eye makeup?
Oh,
like, that's what it looked like to me.
Yeah, I don't remember his name in that movie. He was somebody.
But yeah, the bad guy in Doctor Strange, that's what they were going for.
Now, did my eyes deceive me, or did the truth, I swear to God, the truth during their routine did the like dueling dragons move?
They did.
I think so.
I saw them throw the 2 girls like that, and I was like, what? I mean, I think the same choreographer is involved in this movie. But.
Yeah,
it's a similar guy, yeah. There's some guy who's been a dancer for like the last 4 movies, and then he moved up to like assistant choreographer, I think, in the one before this, and this one he is the choreographer, I think.
Nice.
So
I just thought that was
so he definitely had the idea for the dueling dragons and was like, I gotta get it back in here.
Yeah,
this is what gave me my
people are gonna
my
love
big
it.
shot.
It must be. So another way that we know that we're obviously in the United States is that everybody hangs out at a 1950s diner.
I know. It looked like they were on the set of Saved by the Bell, honestly.
I kept thinking that, or Peach Pit. Like, I might be aging myself, but it was very 90210 Peach Pit.
Mhm.
Like, I was like, what is this diner? And with that one scene where they walk in and she points at one booth, she's like, is that booth okay? I'm like, yeah, like, okay, that one will do. And like, it was just so weird. I'm like, have you guys ever been humans that walked into a restaurant like this? What? They're such bad. Most of them are really, really bad actors to the point where it was just like their whole acting technique was like cross your arms in front of your chest and like have a vocal fry. And that's all you need to do.
Yeah. And the town is apparently populated with only cheerleaders or people who could potentially be cheerleaders.
Yeah.
They're like, let's just go to this restaurant and ask all the guys in there if they want to dance with us.
Oh, and she says, I have this in my notes. Besides, who wouldn't want to cheer with me? She says that twice within the span of 2 minutes of the movie. Like, so before they have to go find new guys, she says that, and then they're in the diner and she says it again, like the exact word for word line. And I was like, what were the, like, as a writer, you definitely notice if you have the exact same line, like with 2 pages between it. But
I mean, I don't know.
Apparently that's fine.
They just wrote it together in that way. It's like her character. I mean, speaking of the writing of this movie, her character is so convoluted where she's the main character, but she's also kind of the villain.
Yeah.
And she's also kind of terrible to all of her friends. And then she's like kind of fine, but like she just like, even when she's like supposedly changed, like there's when the aforementioned video diary, she's like, I recorded it 2 weeks ago. Like, it's not, she's never kind of redeemed. Like, she's just kind of like, like I forgave my friend, I brought her a pizza.
And
and she doesn't even say, I'm sorry, I've been a bitch. She goes, truce. It's like, no, your friend did nothing. You have been a raging bitch and calling her out in front of your entire cheerleading squad for,
nothing.
like the past however long. Yeah, for no reason. And then you show up and go, let's have a truce. Like, as if you both have been. No, it's like you should be like, I am so sorry. I am the biggest bitch that's ever existed on the planet.
Yep.
And
but that doesn't happen.
Yeah,
no, it's just like.
And then and then after that scene, her friend reveals to her that they were behind the truth, and then it just completely like it all happens in 5 minutes.
Yeah,
and completely unravels. And then 2 minutes later, people in the truth are like, I don't know, I think we should probably go back. She's different.
and there's never any reason for those things too. Like when the one girl, I forget her name, but like that was friends with Hannah, always kind of paired up with Hannah.
Oh, right.
And was in the truth when she just shows back up at like Hannah's being a bitch to her, but Hannah's been already like off the rails.
Yeah.
And then she just decides I'm going back, and like there's no reason for any of it.
Why would we care about her at all? Like,
they literally happen back to back. It's like there's it's like the scene follows directly after the next scene, and it's like there's no motivation for what anybody's doing.
No character development. Why do that?
Yeah,
she has a cool car. That's all you got to know.
Yeah. The other thing
that's her personality.
The other thing I really loved about the writing is that you can really tell that it's written by your mom, who doesn't quite understand technology, but thinks that she's cool and totally does. There are a couple moments in particular that I'm going to call out with sound clips right now where I was like, oh, okay, here we go.
You think I have something to do with that internet business?
And then and then later when the truth is talking, she's like,
there's nowhere to hide on the World Wide Web.
This is in 2017, people.
Yeah, no one uses the words internet or World Wide Web, not ironically.
You think I'm involved in that internet business? Like, what the? I almost spit up my drink watching that part. That was great.
We are the king of this GeoCity. This is my space.
The storyline of like, you got to put your phone away and connect with the world and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
It's just like so
Shut up, Mom.
tired.
Yeah.
That's my dad at dinner when my husband will be on his phone. My dad, like when we're visiting home and he's like, put your darn phone away. We're having dinner. My dad is from New York. I don't know why I use that accent, but like it is. It's like seriously only only in this time, for that to be, because it was 2017. The movie's from 2017. It's not that long ago.
Yeah,
it's pretty recent.
It's pretty new.
All the hashtag stuff and all of the it's like, this has already been, this is so old, man.
It's like these kids this age are already over Snapchat. This is 2017.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
One thing I wanted to talk about, we talked a little bit about like, oh, she's in high school and she has a car. I'm curious what you guys think the age of these people is supposed to be in general in this movie, because I was like, one thing that this movie doesn't have.
They were in high school.
Yeah, me neither. Because I was gonna say, like, one thing that this movie doesn't have time for is there's no parents, no parents in this movie at all.
Yeah,
and yet, if they're in high school, they must either be in college or something, because there's no way that they're living at these fancy giant mansions all by themselves.
But that's why I thought they were in high school, because she goes over to Willow's house with the pizza, and like, there's no way that's Willow's house. Like,
right.
They're either in college or high school. And when you're in college, they would show them, I feel like, at dorms or some sort of college life, right? Like, so.
But they also seemed like
yada
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 older.
yada.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, and like, it implies that she lives in an apartment building because the street dancing thing is outside of her house. But then, like, when she's but then her friend lives in a huge mansion, and then there's like another mansion where they all practice.
Right.
Like, whose mansion is that?
Well, that's what I had it in my notes. I'm like, where are they that they were practicing, that there's just like a hotel pool that they hopped in?
Yeah.
Like it was either a mansion or like at a hotel. Like, that pool was not, I'm like, and who, like, you practice on a field or at your gym? Like, it was just so weird. It was just a reason to get hot young people in a.
They definitely
pool
seemed like they were not in high
something.
school, because I don't know. I don't think they'd be going to that like art gallery opening and all that stuff. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. Speaking of the mansion, pool, and field where they practice, halfway through the movie, they decide to reintroduce the dream sequence that they previously spurned and rejected in the beginning.
For some reason.
And it was like horrible. It was like the dumbest one yet. Like,
this was another example of the horrible rhymes.
Cheering.
Yeah.
She was talk singing.
Yeah, it was so bad. This is another where like they can't like rhyme on the beat in these like these chants that they're doing.
Do it.
It's like whoever wrote this is like, just you got to try harder or something. It's got to be a better way.
And cheering is supposed to be about like, we support our team, not like, look at how fucking hot I am. Oops, sorry, I don't want to say that. But like,
you can.
Oh no, yeah.
Okay. The whole cheer was just like, my tits, my butt, and everything is awesome. You want to have sex with me? Like, what is this cheer?
Well, that was a dead giveaway for the nightmare, because all the nightmares have been like that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. See, I don't have that prior knowledge, but I will say, in this nightmare, and when the random girl falls during practice and says Auntie M, who decided that they did not have a stunt coordinator, because the people were already on the ground and then slammed their head against the ground. And I'm like, what? This is not how anyone falls. They're already on the ground and then headbutt the ground in order to show that they fell.
Yeah.
It was bad. And it was like
in the dream.
Censored, like, because they say that they have like pierced nipples or something.
What?
Yeah.
You don't remember that? It was like, boop, there's like a beep in the movie.
I think it's supposed to be tits or boobs. It has to be one syllable in order to fit whatever that stupid song was. But they go like, our nose, and then they point at their chest and say, and it goes beep, are pierced.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think mine beeped.
Oh, mine beeped for sure.
Wait, where did you watch it?
On Netflix.
Oh, okay, I did too. So maybe it did, and I just filled in the blanks in my head.
Yeah, probably.
But I definitely was like, oh, this is the it's also just not anywhere in the vibe of the entire rest of the movie. It's just very interesting.
Yeah.
What is the vibe of the movie? No, I'm kidding.
That I don't know. That I can't tell you. Actually, there is no vibe, so maybe it does fit. It fits with
the first movie, and maybe even the second one, kind of were like trying to lean in just slightly to the like teen humor, kind of like sex comedy, shenanigans. And some of the sequels have tried unsuccessfully to sort of like bring that back up, and others completely abandoned it, I think for the better. But this one is like, we're going to bring back the like raunchy sexual comments, but then also this movie's for like little girls and cheer, like they keep showing kids watching the things on the phone, implying that this is like a family youth activity. And then at the end of the movie, there's like this title card that's this is dedicated to all of the cheerleading teams of the world and your inspiring work or some bullshit like that. And it's like, is it for older teens that are joking about sex, or is it for like kids and young girls? Like,
I was honestly baffled when that came up at the end. I was like, what? This is supposed to be like, you're supposed to watch this and be like, oh man, yeah, wow, I really get it. Thanks to all the cheerleaders out there.
I mean, if it's intended for the younger audience as a family film or whatever from Universal 1440, it's fucking terrible because they're all just in like the most ridiculous impractical workout gear that like the entire movie, and like they're all just walking around like they're with the same attitude of just like, I'm fucking hot. Like someone should have. And there's a
whole fucking gross conversation about people slipping a finger that goes on for multiple like beats, and it's like, why are you still talking about this?
Yeah.
Like in the first movie, they mentioned that, but it was like one guy and one girl that was doing it, and it was like, it's implied that it's consensual and like, but not that makes it okay. That's like never okay in a performance setting, obviously. But this one, like, it's so bad because, okay, so we dealt with in one of the previous movies how someone who is saying such horrible and offensive things, turns out they were faking it. And so that somehow makes it okay, which it doesn't. So Hannah is saying these horrible things about both the boys and girls on the team that are lesbian, fingering her and taking her virginity, and it's implied that it's a thing that everyone knows about and has experienced separately. Like, it's not even just her saying that horribly. Like, she's like, everyone has experienced lesbianic Lisa or whatever she says, and it's just like, it's so
I
horrible.
somehow missed that, and I am like,
oh
wow,
my God.
Like, I need to go back and rewatch Cheersmack
because
I
bad.
Missed that whole
bad
thing.
It's like disgusting. It's not funny at all, like, in any way. It's like you're joking, and this, like, if this came out in the year, what was it, 2000 was the first movie?
Yeah.
2000 was the first movie, and so obviously it's not great then either, but you can kind of get it. Whereas like 2017, like, I mean, things have changed so much already. Like, you can't joke around about like students being sexually assaulted and then also like put it on these like lesbian characters that probably, like, okay, obviously, yes, there are female sex abusers in this world, but there are like, it's like almost zero compared to the number of male sex abusers. So to imply that the lesbian cheerleaders are just as bad as all the men is like, there's no way that I won't even entertain that.
It is a really interesting line with these movies where I think that the first one also took a lot more time to make it feel like authentic to those characters and that they're in high school and they're saying things. So high school kids say immature things. High school kids say hurtful things. And it kind of got away with a little bit more of that because, those were the characters. There is a truth to that. Mm-hmm. And I think that, these movies, as we've gone along, have had various degrees of that. It makes it more palatable when it's more within that universe and they're grounded in something. And this movie, it taken completely out of context, just gives no cover for any of that shit, because it's just like, okay, well, like, what, like, this is just happening because the writer wants it to happen. Mm-hmm. Like, that's granted for everything, but there's just no justifications for anything in this movie because we have no idea who these people are.
No, and I will say, like, so it came out in 2017, which means it was likely written in like 2015 or 2016, and not at all to excuse what is happening on screen in this movie. But I am honestly constantly shocked of going back and, like, in quarantine, we've had time to go back and watch random things that are only a few years old, and I'm like, wow, I don't remember this from the, because it's kind of wild how even in just the past like 2 or 3 years, like things have just changed so much of like what we would say or not say, or like stand-up comedy specials I'll watch and be like, oh wow, they could never do this material now, know, and not that now some of those things are good and some of it is like, well, it's just you wouldn't want to do that right now, but it's like, there's so many, that's a whole nother thing. But I will say the problem that it always comes down to is like you want it to be funny and not be like just outright like hurtful and lying about like a group of people. And so in this it's just like it's not funny and it's just offensive. So it's like when you're not funny and you're offensive, you just have no leeway for what you're doing. In this movie, I will say, like, you can't even use the excuse of that it was maybe written in 2015 or 2016. It's just like all of the jokes are terrible and bad, and like the actors are mugging, like the whole time, like, ugh, like really, especially the white guy dancer. Sorry, he was like, I don't know his name, but
Jeff.
he's like the worst actor on the face of the planet. And like the director should have like reined him in or something. I don't know, but yeah, that's my piece on that.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Speaking of the actors, I mean, we mentioned him already, but like pretty much the only thing I liked about this movie is that the love interest was like an Asian male that was not emasculated in any way, which pretty much never happens in any media ever. So, well, I mean, there's a few things nowadays, like, Crazy Rich Asians or whatever, but I was like very pleasantly surprised to see this in like a movie that is maybe ostensibly for teens. But yeah, I thought he was one of the better actors, and I liked his character, regardless of the fact that some of his justifications didn't make any sense. But
and the fact that he owned his friends.
But he was so charming. I literally wrote like, oh, he's really charming and he's good. Like, I believe they had good chemistry. Honestly, her best acting was done in the scenes with him, where it was like once she, like when they had on the scaffolding after he let her know that he's a professional graffiti artist and that's why he couldn't cheer for her team. But yeah, he is very charming and like was very like, I mean, he can get it. Yeah, I'm married. He can't really get it, but like, he could get it. He's really cute. Yeah,
his name is Jordan Rodriguez, and he's actually nominated for a Daytime Emmy. That one that hasn't been announced yet because the Daytime Emmys are all split up. But he's on this show Light as a Feather on Hulu. But I think he's gonna lose because he's going up against Elmo.
Oh, wow,
that's rough.
So,
yeah, I thought he was probably the best love interest in the series.
Yeah. He's got the best acting because he could convince Destiny that the tattoo wasn't because he was the artist. She just goes, oh, yeah, okay, you're just a big fan. That makes sense. Sure.
Can we talk about her mural?
Yeah.
Yeah. She just makes the same thing that's on her tattoo. She has no creativity.
Turns out we could all be graffiti artists.
Yeah.
You guys.
Yeah.
Peace,
cheer,
love, cheer.
Peace, or peace, love, cheer. Yeah.
I do think that he is also one of the love interests that, like, one of the only ones who's like, yeah, like you're really happy when you're doing cheerleading. Like, I really love how how into it you are and how it makes you feel, and that's exciting for me. I don't think anybody else has done that in a way that was like, I just want to be there, but I don't really give a shit about what she's doing. It's just like, yeah I'm there for her.
Well, and he gave that as justification of why he joined the team, like when she needed help. He was like, nice. You took the time to take an interest in what I'm doing. And actually that was like the only piece of character development probably, and like character arc in the entire movie. But it was nice, and like it made you just really like his character, because you're like, oh, that actually totally justifies why you'd be like, I wasn't going to do it before, but now I'm like, yeah, you need help and I want to make you feel good.
Also, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was saying, now that's a guy who's seen a human being before.
Yeah.
Unlike everybody else in this movie.
I didn't recognize him, but he's in Lady Bird. He's like her brother.
Okay, I knew I recognized him from somewhere, but I didn't know where definitely at all. But I was like, I feel like I've seen him in something, because the other people, like you mentioned in last week's episode, where a lot of them are, dancers or cheerleaders or whatever, and have never had a camera in front of them, which like, honestly, give them a lot of credit. There's a lot of pressure when you have an entire crew and like all these people and you're like, okay, now I have to act like I'm good at this thing and I think I can act. And then you have acting is also being able to do that under pressure. And I think, people take that for granted. You can come in and do a good audition and then it's like, yikes, when you actually get on set. But yeah, I'm just rambling.
Yeah.
It's okay.
So another thing that I found out when looking at the cast, our main character, Destiny, is Christine Prosperi. She's she's well known as being one of the late end Degrassi people. So she's Canadian. And I kind of vaguely remember that character, but not really, because I wasn't really watching much anymore by the time she came around. And this movie, strangely enough, is not just part of a Bring It On universe. There is an alternate, like, spiritual sequel universe centered around this movie.
What?
That I'm making up right now. But
okay.
In 2019, on Lifetime, a movie called The Wrong Cheerleader premiered, starring this girl, Christine Prosperi, and Vivica A. Fox as her cheer coach. So somehow, after this movie, the girl was put back into high school, and Vivica A. Fox was demoted from being cheer goddess to being, just a cheerleader.
Just a coach, just a lowly cheerleading coach.
Maybe it's a prequel. I don't know. But her character, Christine's character, is a girl who's never really gotten the attention of any boys before until she joins the cheer team. But then she gets attention from the wrong kind of guy who turns out to be a murderous stalker.
Oh.
And then the trailer is Vivica A. Fox going like, "You messed with the wrong cheerleader."
I was going to say, like, how is she the wrong cheerleader? I don't get it.
I guess she gets revenge after he stalks her. Maybe. Well, because Lifetime movie, the stalker's not going to win.
Right.
Yeah.
Of course not.
Did she wear glasses before and like overalls? And that's why she was unattractive and no boys ever liked her. And then she became a cheerleader and just people could see her beauty.
Yes, but that wasn't clear based on the 1 minute and 30-second trailer that I watched.
Yeah.
Is there a part where she implied that she could survive if she just had running water and a bowl of flavored lip smackers?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Oh my God. What a line.
Well, and it's just so strange that like that whoever was casting these wasn't like, oh wait, like Vivica A. Fox already mentored this girl in another movie about cheerleaders. Maybe we should cast someone else.
But that was 2019. I thought that when I looked it on IMDb, the wrong cheerleader I thought was 2019, and Cheersmack was 2017, right? Oh, so you're saying why didn't someone go for the 2019 movie?
Yeah,
like why did they? Yeah, totally.
Hey, why did we let this happen? Like, are there no other girls that can play cheerleaders?
They're a team.
Again, if you have Vivica A. Fox
point.
signed up, you're just gonna do it, right? But like, I mean, whatever.
Well, no, they saw this movie and they're like, you know what? Like, nothing else worked except for that relationship. Like, we need to get them back in the room.
Relationship over Zoom.
And Vivica A. Fox was like, I'll be in the movie if I can also do this one from my living room.
Yeah.
And so what? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, it's just so weird too, because the Lifetime movie is like a serious movie about stalking and sexual harassment, whereas this is like not the case.
Just an act of sexual harassment.
Yeah. It's terrible. So the actual, so it's called The Truth. So is the truth is just like, you need to see the truth that this one girl is bitchy to her team.
Yeah. It's like, you need
is that the entirety of the, like, I mean, that's your driving force of the entire movie, basically. And yes, she was bitchy to the team, but she wasn't like abusive. You know what I mean? Like she was like,
she's
bitchy.
The captain. Come on.
Yeah.
Right. But she wasn't like pushing girl. Like, to me, I'm like, to make this the truth be a thing, you needed her to be like cutting ponytails off and like pushing people. And like, I'm like, I mean, yes, she was bitchy, but like,
she was mostly just being like, I don't like that idea.
Yeah, exactly.
My idea's better.
I don't like that idea. Oh my God, we need to like
the motivation
down worldwide.
We're going to be a terrorist organization now.
The motivation for it is so flimsy that where she just gets like adjacent to an apology. She doesn't even apologize. She just gets close to one. Everyone's like, yeah, that's cool. Like, we're good. Yeah, we'll come back now.
And adds like kind of a tiny bit of hip hop to their routine. That was the other thing is I was like, you're not going to like incorporate all the amazing like street dancing that these guys were doing. You're just
that scene with Willow and the guy named Jeff or whatever, where they meet in the street and then she's like, hey, I just wanted to teach you this like really cool new move that I'm working on. And he's like, all right, let me turn off the stereo on the street because I got a Bluetooth speaker on the roof. And they go up there and they turn it on. And I think I think this is going to be a whole scene where like, all right, now we're going to see the special move that she's been learning and she's going to teach. Yeah. Instead, it turns into this like, only music montage where there's no other sound and they're just like goofing around and not doing anything that looks cool at all. And I'm just like, what is this?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not blowing Slurpees into an industrial
that's
fan.
what it reminded me of.
I thought it was going to be like what was the movie with Julia Stiles and is it
Center
Step
Stage.
It Up? Center I know Center Stage well.
Save the Last Dance.
Save the Last Dance.
Save the Last Dance. Yes. There's so many. It's hard to Yes, but Save the Last Dance, like I thought it was going to be one of those where it's like she's a ballerina, he's a street dancer, and they're going to find a way to like groove together like in that montage. And like this was just like they kind of were doing like step touch, and then she'd be like, "Yeah, do that," and he's like, "Yeah, I can step touch too." I was like, "What is happening?"
Yeah,
like,
it was such an awkward moment that I am convinced that like they had a whole scene there, and then in post they were just like, oh god, these actors are terrible together, let's just make this a music montage instead and cut together the dailies into some sort of thing. I mean, that's what it seemed like to me.
They have zero chemistry, even at the end when he was just like, oh, I knew you liked me or whatever. And you can tell like as an actress, she's just like, I like literally want to vomit when I see
have to transfer gum.
Oh, that was so gross.
I know. And like, she just does not even see, like they have zero, they like definitely, I feel like in person do not like each other and are not attracted to each other in any way.
So gross.
Oh man,
for sure.
What do what's left to talk about? The credits? We don't have a big
There's nothing in the credits.
Yeah.
There's just some
Universal
demo videos.
1440's not trying to launch some pop star either.
Yeah. I mean, okay, so there was like the clips from the other groups, the ones that like their footage wasn't high def enough to make it into the fake competition.
It just looked like YouTube videos, honestly.
Yep. Or their casting videos that they sent in to the production.
Yeah. That's what I think. Yeah, too.
The one thing I really hate is I really hate that American Authors song. It's so bad.
Oh yeah. That was the other thing too, that like it was trying to be so inspirational at the end with that American Authors song plus like the that title card at the end. It's just like so ludicrous. And,
also,
like we had this movie with these horrible themes and horrible jokes and like just people acting awful, and now all of a sudden in the last 10 minutes you're gonna be like, we're an inspiration to cheerleaders everywhere.
It's such a
American Authors. Like
the song is burned in my head, and it's equally terrible because it's a fucking the title of the song is a fucking Bring It On movie title basically, but it's one that they haven't used for whatever reason. They didn't use for this. The song is like called Go Big or Go Home, and it's like that's totally like,
what trailer was it in?
Subtitle
that it was like some animated movie, that song. I feel like it was like a Trolls or something like
that.
Probably. And like every single time it came on, I'm like, I could not roll my eyes hard enough when it happened.
I just couldn't understand what was...
I was like, this better be ending now.
What was the other song? Like Invincible or something?
Yeah,
they played like 5 times during the movie.
There's a few songs that get played multiple times,
Yeah.
They could only pay for so many rights to songs, apparently. Can I read this one review from IMDb of the movie?
Absolutely.
It's the best review they got, and I think it's important to read it. It's an 8 out of 10 stars.
I know what
the title of the review. The title of the review is "I Would Do These Girls." And the rest of the review of the movie goes as follows. This is a great eye candy movie. I would tap these gorgeous nubile girls anytime. And then in parentheses says, sorry guys, don't swing that way. As if gay men reading this review were like, but will you do me?
What? That's a twist. I don't understand that.
Like quite an assumption from this gentleman. That is how great this film is. The girls and story are that good, even if it is part of a franchise. By the way, several cool quotations can come out of this film, and the message is one of strength and perseverance. Like, what? You just said, like, just watch this because you want to tap these women.
But it's a
right?
truly great movie.
No, it's definitely a fragile white man because he talks about like it's in a franchise, so like it's not like so he has standards, right?
Yeah.
Like he's not gonna watch these franchise movies. But like I love the idea that he thinks it's like the actors are going to be going through, and the guy who played Blake is going to be like, man, this dude doesn't want to do me.
Yeah. And like the fact that it's the review was posted on January 22nd, 2020. So this is
God.
This is years later. So that's why I think it's not a bot. Like I would think maybe it's a bot if it were
bother,
like
it's probably like
after the
right when it
movie
hit
came out,
Netflix or something.
Yeah, he got
Oh my
Netflix
God.
to watch Cheersmack and is just like, I'm like, do you really not have any wherewithal at all? Like just.
By the way,
Anyway,
anybody
that was
who
the one
uses the word nubile unironically is a
know.
pervert. That's the word
Pervert.
automatically.
Yeah,
you're a
it's
pervert.
gross. It's
Yeah.
gross.
Nubile, like seriously, just gross. I just love that he had to put in parentheses. Sorry, like, oh man, all the gay men of the world are very sad that they can't just contact you directly.
They're like, after that sentence, ooh.
Yeah,
I just love the idea of after watching that movie that you're like, I need to go to the internet. Like I got thoughts, got to share them.
I have to review this. After you watch a movie, you have to give your thoughts to someone on the internet, on the World Wide Web.
World Wide Web. I don't mess with that internet.
No. Well,
Yeah.
I think we gotta bring it to an end. It's time to bring it off. Tyler, you got a rating system for us or what?
Okay, so I have two. One of them would just be city sanctioned graffiti, or we also could do a Vivica A. Fox line, a tasty piece of spirit candy.
Ew. That's gross. Let's go with the graffiti.
Okay,
I'm already so perved out by all these gross things that happen. Like,
all right. How many city sanctioned murals would you give? Bring it on. #worldwide Cheersmack.
Who wants to go first?
I will give it one mural.
Oh, you're only gonna give it one mural?
Yeah.
A murai?
Yeah. It gets one mural. I think that I'll bump it up to two. I think that the love interest is the best one of the series, and it's a shame that is wasted in a movie that is barely a movie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And how many? And this is out of how many murals, or it's just a sliding scale of any amount?
10
of murals?
usually.
Okay.
Usually out of 10. Yeah. I will also give it 2 murals, which I think is what I gave Hayden Panettiere. So the horribly offensive racial one.
Right.
But this one at least had none of that. It was just generally offensive.
Yeah.
Right.
Like outside of race, it was like the existence of it is offensive. But yeah, like we said, I like the male love interest. That I guess some of it was fine. I don't know. I wasn't that impressed by the dancing, and the fact that like 30% of the movie is just stock footage is like really brings it down for me, because a lot of times I'm kinder to the movies that at least look like real movies, even if the plot is horrible. But this is like not even barely a movie.
Yeah, it does make me wonder now that I'm thinking about it. It's like maybe all of these actors, or the majority of them, were South African, and they were just trying to not have an accent. Like,
other than the Irish girl and then the Canadian girl is the lead, I think everybody is South African.
So I think that's why.
Guy.
So like, they're just like, I can totally have an American accent and sustain it for a feature length movie.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna give it also 2 city sanctioned murals.
Yeah.
Nice.
I love that whole reveal too. He's just like, I got in so much trouble that day. They sponsored me.
That's part of the reveal. He's wearing a bandana up as if he's trying to hide, but then he pulls it down, and if it's city sanctioned, he does no reason to be wearing a bandana.
I think it's for the fumes.
The fumes, yeah, that's right.
The bandana doesn't do anything. He would just wear a respirator.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no.
Sorry, go ahead, Justin. Okay, I was gonna give it 2 city sanctioned murals. Maybe a bonus one that I assume is a mural of me just because the person in it has a ponytail, and I just go right for assuming that it's obviously a mural of me because that's what Destiny did, where she just knew you made a mural of me. It's like that could be any cheerleader, but okay. You go
Especially
for
because
it.
Everybody in this town is a cheerleader.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So 2 and 1 assumed extra point for Destiny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this movie more than any of the other ones felt like someone just moving the characters from scene to scene for no reason, and all strung together with a series of stock footage transitions and people on cell phones going whoa. Bad movie. Don't watch it.
Do we have any thoughts on the franchise overall? As we're
bad franchise.
Bad franchise. I feel like that this is one of the most grueling franchises that we have partaken of.
It was unexpectedly grueling. Like I thought it was going to be funny and like, oh man, we had fun with Step Up. It's going to be like that.
I was begging for this to be Cinderella's story.
Yeah.
At this point, and that's saying something. Like
it's rough. It's really rough.
I mean, the first movie is like close to perfect, and then this series, just every single one, even the ones that we could somewhat tolerate, still had just hateful, horrible things in it. You know, like we usually do like a ranking or whatever. The first one is the best. Christina Milian is the second best, and then they all kind of follow after that.
And it's a garbage pile at the bottom. Yeah.
This is tied with Hayden Panettiere as the worst because that one was so hateful, but it at least had like a semblance of production value, whereas this one has no production value, but is only like a little bit hateful.
Yeah, this one made me feel really bad actually, like because the twist that it takes, it's not a twist, but like the turn that the tone of the movie takes towards the end, where it's really like more of a showcase of all these other squads. And we almost barely even care. They spend so much time announcing these other squads and showing them, and they all look so happy and excited. And I'm sure they were like super pumped to be in this movie and get this exposure and shine a light on cheerleading or whatever they thought was going to happen with this movie. And it just made me feel like really terrible that they were clearly excited and like, but they were put into this awful, awful movie. Yeah. That if they wanted to go that route of really like shining an amazing, fun, positive light on cheerleading, they could have. I feel like a better movie could have been made out of that.
And it would have been really cool to have all the, you could just, it's so easy. I mean, it's not easy, but right. They went the absolute wrong way of just trying to make this like, hey, we're going to have a giant international competition. They're going to have some motivation for wanting to do it. And it's like, oh, I got it. There's a secret society that's trying to fuck them up. And it's like, what?
Well, it's like, imagine that you're one of the girls who's in this movie, like regardless of there were people as young as like 15, 16 in some of these clips, right? Mm-hmm. And you're like, you have your whole family, you're like, you guys, I'm going to be in this movie. Like it's a sequel to Bring It On. Like, let's all sit and watch it. And then in the first 15 minutes, they're like joking around about people being raped, like in their cheer routines.
Exactly.
And, like what, poor grandma is probably like, what the hell is this? Turn this off, like, I don't know.
Yeah. It's really messed up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even know there was more than after. I knew there was a sequel to Bring It On. I had no idea there was anything after that. So
yeah, what's the final total? Is it 5 or 6?
6 movies, I believe.
6.
God.
Oh God. No end in sight, probably. Honestly.
Wait, was it 6 or 7?
I can't even name them. I don't even know.
I mean, I can tell you from I have your podcast.
Oh, yeah, you probably know.
I'm pretty sure there's only 6.
You have one. You have Bring It On, Bring It On Again, Bring It On, All or Nothing, Bring It On, In It to Win It. So that's
which one was that?
Then Fight. That's the Universal Studios.
That's the Universal one.
Okay, got it.
So that's 4.
Then
this would be 5, unless there was another one in there.
We've got Fight to the Finish, and then this one. Yeah. So
yeah. Okay.
Ugh.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Well,
6.
we
Brutal.
try to usually be hopeful about where they could go. So, I mean, I still think with the original movie, there's still potential there to remine that. You just have to erase all of these, completely ignore them, and do something where you get Kirsten Dunst and Gabrielle Union to come back and their daughters are in Cheer or something.
Yeah.
Like that, like it just, no.
Maybe
Or
they
just-
can end the pandemic with cheerleading.
They're really
That would be
catchy
amazing.
cheer to wear your mask. And
Yeah.
it takes the nation by storm.
And then
Or
people
what they
do it.
should do is do like a triple X situation where you think it's just like a sequel with Gabrielle Union and Kirsten Dunst and Eliza Dushku, and you're all excited, and then like somehow at the very end, like Hayden Panettiere and Christina Milian and that girl from Pretty Little Liars all come back, and they're like also there too.
Yeah, and everyone's like, "Who
That'd
are
be
these
great.
people?" I
And
don't
then
get
Ice
it.
Cube's also there.
Yeah, why not?
I mean,
Be
Cheer
the
Goddess
cheer
has to show
god.
up, of course. Yeah.
Cheer God, yeah.
Oh God, I don't know.
Ah.
I think we always talk about too, like if we would watch another one when it comes out. I don't think. I
No.
don't know. Maybe if there's a different writer involved.
If it's connected to the original and there's a new writer, yes, but I'm sorry, I'm done with.
It's been the same writer for like the last
Miss
4
Alison
movies.
Faust,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
Sorry.
ugh.
The World Wide Web.
The World Wide Web. Well, enough of this internet business. Erin, thanks for being here with us this
Yes,
week.
thank you so much.
Yeah, this was so much fun. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about your podcast and where people can find it or where they can follow you.
Yeah. So everything is at Erin Muroski, and that's ErinMuroski. And my podcast is Final Rose Material, and it's on the Bachelor franchise. It will start back up when we come back with Claire's season, which I am hoping is soon. I think they go into production here soon. But Final Rose Material, you can find it on iTunes and on Spotify. And you can follow me on social at Erin Muroski, wherever, Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff.
Great. Thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well-
And Justin.
I mean, that's the end. That's
Yeah.
the end. That's the end of Bring It On. But
Yeah.
hey, we're not totally broken after this. But we
No.
do need. We are signing ourselves up for another potentially. Who knows what's going to happen with this next one? But we are going to be talking about the Spy Kids franchise.
Oh, wow.
Just hey, why not? Spy Kids? There's 4 of them.
Yeah.
Maybe they're more wholesome than these movies. I don't know.
Maybe.
There's kids
I
involved,
hope
right?
so.
Yeah, there's kids. It's kids movies.
We'll find out.
It's kind of funny how 4 is like short to us at this point.
Oh yeah.
Like back in the day,
Yeah.
that was like, yeah.
Oh man, a
anyways.
4 spot. Yeah.
4
6.
movies will be done in like a day. Yeah. No
Yeah.
problem.
Anyways. So yeah, that's only going to be a short month. So go ahead and email us your suggestions for franchises after that.
Yeah.
Because we need to know where to go next.
We got a suggestion for Carrie the other day, actually. So
Oh yes, we did.
yeah,
Thank you
have
for
to,
that
have to
email.
think about that.
Yeah. So email us sequelrights@gmail.com or find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube channel at Sequel Rights.
Oh, and please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts or listen to us on Spotify. We really appreciate it.
I laughed so hard my hat fell off. Okay, well,
Literally 3 years we've been doing the same like order.
I just thought it would be over. I was done.
oh God. All right. That's it. We're done. Bring It On is done. Next week, we'll be back for Robert Rodriguez's Spy Kids.